Good evening, everyone. My name is Ishani, and today we have a very special workshop, which pretty much, on a daily basis, this is something that I share with a lot of students who are trying to get into this stream of data analytics, right? So, what is this workshop all about? Uh, we all know that the competition in data analytics is and data science jobs have become more intense now as more number of people are trying to get into it. The only thing that helps us in getting a useful job or even to get an interview call are the portfolio projects. Now, a lot of time you will read about everybody talking about there should be projects on your resume, and these projects are the one which is going to get you an interview. But what in my experience I've felt is you guys are doing projects. A lot of people are doing a lot of projects. However, the way you present on the resume or the way you work on the resume, on the projects, it's not really the right strategy to do it. So in today's workshop, main focus is on understanding, number one, what is a portfolio project, why we need it. Number two, how to create it, where to get the data. Once I get the data, what are the steps that I should do? And number four, what we're going to focus on is how to use ChatGPT to make our more, the language properly. It should be more business aligned. And the last but not the least, I'll take up some examples from resumes of the students. And from there, we will see how to use ChatGPT. Why do we need a portfolio project? So the reason we need a portfolio project, or what is a portfolio project? Everyone is trying to get into this data analytics industry. I have seen freshers to very senior folks who have 10, 15 years of experience to get into this industry. Now, once you learn a tool, for a fresher, they really don't have a job, they don't have data. So, how do they exhibit their passion or their knowledge towards data science or data analytics? And if you are a working professional, but you really haven't done anything in analytics so far with the data, so how do you show that now you are able to, you will be a person who knows how to work with the analytics tools? So as something to support on your resume so that you get an interview call, we ask candidates to create something called portfolio projects. So in portfolio projects, depending on which tool do you like or which kind of tool you want to get a job into, you should be doing at least 3 to 4 projects. Okay. Now, why or how these portfolio projects are important? What is the power of the portfolio that we do? Number one, like I was telling you, they help us to demonstrate a practical skills. What you're learning is a tool. You're getting a lot of understanding of the tool in terms of its what are the techniques that are to be used, what are the features of the tools that are used. Now, how do you translate into that? I know whatever I've studied, whatever theory I know how to use it practically on the data. Because nowadays, when you think of interviews, nobody is going to ask you verbal, technical question. Typically, it is done through case studies, right? So if I am a recruiter and I want to select the kind of person to whom I can send a case study, I would like to see if a person has done something similar or not. Because if I see a resume where there is no project, only the keywords are given that I've done SQL, I've done Tableau, I've done Power BI, I've done machine learning, but I can't really see has a person only done a course through an institute or Udemy or Coursera, or that the person has actually applied the knowledge into some projects. So, number one, demonstrates practical skills. How I'm converting the theoretical knowledge into the practical skill set. Second thing, it helps us to show the problem solving skills. Now, how problem solving skills? When we say portfolio, we don't mean one project. When we say portfolio, we mean multiple data sets. Multiple data sets can exhibit a lot of things. Number one, your understanding of multiple industries. I may do one project on retail. I may do one on marketing. I may do one on finance, one on socials, media, right? Or it may be that I have one domain, but I'm trying to showcase my understanding of different analytical problems that I'm trying to solve using the case. So when I say it shows your ability to work with multiple data sets and multiple problems, that is again done by multiple projects in your portfolio. Next, it displays the hand-on experience with the tools. So again, going back to the typical resumes that we look at, a lot of time people are giving resumes in which they have put, like, I know Excel or advanced Excel, and I know VLOOKUP, pivot table, I know conditional formatting, and I know, Python, I know pandas, and I know NumPy, but all these are words, right? It can be easily that you copy pasted it from some outline and put it in your resume. But do you really know how to use it? That can only be displayed through your projects. So instead of giving only the keywords of the tools that you're learning, make projects in which you will be using these techniques. And anyone who's a recruiter or who's a technical, these guys are technical recruiters. So they exactly know what kind of work is expected when they get you on board. So if you showcase that kind of work through the projects, then you are a match for the organization. Then highlight domain knowledge. Let's talk about the working professionals. Let's say I've been working in finance for the last 5 years. Now I want to shift into analytics. So it's not really shift, it's an upskill. And how do I show this upskill? Through the projects. So I have a very good understanding of finance. I know my analytical tools now. And now I want to showcase that in finance, there is, like, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems that is expected for an analyst to solve. And I do cases, I do projects around those problem areas. So that shows that I have good command on the domain knowledge, and I know how to mix my tools with the domain knowledge that I have. So it also helps us to highlight the domain knowledge that we have. And the last one, it displays your passion towards data science. Again, based on my 15 years of experience of interacting with a lot of students, like freshers to experience, a lot of people get into this industry, they learn how to use a tool, but really, are you going to be very good in the industry, or will you be a good fit for the organization, is only going to be displayed through passion. And what better to showcase your passion by being active on the LinkedIn, by putting up your projects on LinkedIn and creating a portfolio. So if I have two candidates, one person has just listed out the tools that are there, and I have another candidate whose first page is full of projects of anything. It's not necessary you have to fill it up with all the tools that you know. Whatever you want to gear your job towards. Like, I want to be a BI analyst. So all my resume is going to talk about BI analysts. I want to be a data scientist. Then I should have projects around Python. I should have projects in machine learning, various concepts that you're learning, various case studies that you're having. That has to be a part of it. So your passion, how do I know you're passionate about this data science? How do I know if I hire you, you are going to be an asset to my organization? I will only come to know about that by looking at your work. And hence, the portfolios are super, super important in today's time, not only to convert an interview into a job, but also the first step to get an interview. Now, question comes, all right, I understand how to why should I create a portfolio? But I now want to understand how to create it. So what is the first step? The very first step of creating a portfolio is get data. A lot of time people don't know from where to get data. in today's time, there are a lot of resources from where you get free data sets, right? So I thought, just list it out for everyone. Some of the very commonly used data sets, resources. Kaggle, very famous. It has a lot of data sets with respect to um, visualization, with respect to Python, with respect to machine learning algorithms. Then we have UCI machine learning repository. We have data.gov. This is like a US based government website where anything like traffic in New York City versus it may be population or a healthcare of US is given over there. So depending on which topic, which industry you want to work with, you can go and pick up the data. So this is like an actual real-time data that you're picking in data.gov and data.gov.uk. So this is for UK. Then we have Reddit, and then we have AWS public data sets. So a lot of time people have this question to me, are these the live data set? See, as an organization, there's not going to be any organization which is going to give you their live data to you to work on. A lot of data governance, data security issues are there. However, the data sets that you find on these websites, like Kaggle, those are very close to the real-time data sets that you will get. So if you are picking data from Kaggle, be prepared that they may be not a perfect data sitting there. I will have to clean the data, I have to prep the data, I have to create some more columns for the data, and then I'll get my output. So these are the typical websites. Apart from that, there are a lot of websites in which a lot of challenges are taking place. Maven Analytics, FP20, DNA Enterprise. So over there also you can pick data sets, participate in challenges. That also becomes your portfolio project. Again, it shows your passion towards the industry. If you want to try for data analytics, see, data analytics is a very, very big word. Data science, very big word. So when somebody says, I want to become a data analyst, what's the definition of a data analyst? A person who is working with, let's say, SQL and Python is also called a data analyst. A person who's working only with Excel and probably SQL is also called a data analyst. A person who's only working with Python and R is also called a data analyst, right? A person who can analyze the data is called a data analyst. So don't go by the rules, right? Don't go by the rules. Go by the tools that you want to work with, and pick your projects based on the tools, with the tools and the data set that you would want to work with. Code Basic, again, it's a good website to go and practice. However, I feel the level of questions is little more like easy to medium. And since there are questions already given, you really don't push yourself to think beyond what is a possibility in a business. So my way is either you go for challenges, Code Basic, Maven, and all those things, or second is pick your own data sets, because then they are purely your personal projects. They are not something that thousands of people are working on or thousands of people will have there on their LinkedIn or your resume. These are your personal projects. This is going to be unique to you. So best policies, participate in challenges and all. However, focus more on getting your projects done. Okay. Next, let's say I know where to get the data. Now, what do I do? Now, what are the key steps? And this is the most important part. Typically, again, what I've seen is, let's say I'm a student, I pick a data set. I've got 10 columns. Instinct as a student who has just learned is that we try to use all the possible columns in the data and do some kind of project with it. But that's not exactly how you would be working in the industry. When you say that, okay, if you ask someone who's working as an analyst in an organization, it's not that they are given a data and say, do something with it, or work with Python, or work with Power BI. The way they are given a project is with a business problem. And these guys are supposed to solve that business problem with the data. So when you want to show that I'm a good match for an organization, to the interviewer, to the recruiter, you want to impress them. Not just that I've filled my resume with a lot of projects, I've worked with a lot of data, I know all these tools. No, I want to impress them that I understand what you do at your work, and that's what I am doing. How do you exhibit that? So that will be done. Sorry, I've got a bad throat. Okay, there's a question. If someone wants to work with Power BI and Excel, then how can I create my portfolio? So if someone wants to work with Power BI and Excel, what kind of profile are we thinking about? What profile are we looking at? We are looking at a BI analyst, right? A person who is working on the descriptive analytics side of the industry. So your portfolio projects have to be around that. So in Excel, what kind of projects you can showcase? One is dashboards, correct? Dashboard with the use of slices, or dashboard with the use of form controls, or something that we create in Excel a lot is trackers. A lot of organizations have trackers. They are tracking their bids, they're tracking their sales, they're tracking their inventory. A lot of trackers are there. So either create trackers and show that as your portfolio project, or create dashboards with slices, without slices, and form controls, right? Talking about BI, in BI, you have to work with your visualizations, dashboards, right? So that kind of profile portfolio you will have. Are video projects also necessary? See, videos are always a good engagement. Think about yourself. You all are sitting over here today. If I would have sent you a PPT deck, 30, 40 pages, or even 10 pages, the kind of interest you have in reading versus something which is displayed to you in form of a video, which one would you prefer? I'm sure video. So on LinkedIn, when you put short videos, right? Not very long, 30 minutes, nobody has 30 minutes time to sit on LinkedIn and watch your videos, but quick 5 minutes video that helps a person to understand your work faster, and it engages. And the more engaged you keep people on LinkedIn, more followers you are, the visibility increases of your work. So for example, you put a project on LinkedIn, a video project. I like it. Some more trainers of Ivy like it. Automatically, your visibility, which may be 5,000 people, has automatically become a 15,000 people visibility. So that's the reason on LinkedIn you have to be active. And what kind of content will attract people? Videos always attract us. Why do you think YouTube has become so famous? Just because of videos. Video engagement is better versus if I search for something on the Google and read about it, try to understand, versus I watch a video. That's always a win-win situation. There are two websites, NoPro and Maven Showcase, where you can create your portfolio. You can create your portfolios over there, but this is not what I meant. I didn't mean the portfolio as in a hosting place. Portfolio, when I say the word portfolio, I meant that you have done a set of projects that you can call that this is my work, right? Now, where you're hosting it, you have GitHub, you have Maven, you have NoPro, everywhere you can do it. But the point is you have to do the project before you can think about hosting. Hosting comes later. First is your work has to be done. So I regularly prepare dashboards and trackers in my organizations. Yes, so that work should reflect on your resume. And more than the projects, if you're doing something on a regular basis at your work, that has to be on your resume. That has to be written in a proper language on your resume that this is the profile you're currently doing. Nothing better than hiring a guy who's already doing it at the job rather than only basing it off on the projects that I've given. Okay, so the more and more work you can show at your current. Can I put a project on resume depending on that? That's not a that's not a project then, right? It's your work experience. So that part will go in your work experience, not as a project. And like I said, see, why would I need a support of a project? If I'm already a data analyst, if I'm already working on Python, if I'm already working on Power BI, if I'm already working on SQL, that will be the part of my profile, that will be my role, right? So if I am saying that I'm working in an organization and for past 2 years I've been working on these tools and this is the kind of work I'm doing, that's a better way of showcasing my knowledge. Or should I go for a portfolio project? Obviously, it's better that I show that I'm already doing it. It's my bread and butter. That's what I do. I don't need a portfolio project in such cases then. As a fresher, should I focus on a single domain project or multiple domain project? I would say as a fresher, focus should be multi-domain, because right now you really don't know which domain you would like to go. You really don't know that. So by using multi-domain, you get a understanding, okay, is this something I enjoy? Because see, nobody can force you to do anything. I feel everything has to be coming up as a natural. So I have students who are very natural at Python, versus there are students who are very natural at learning SQL. Then I have people who are very good in dashboarding, better than me. So you have to understand your natural inclination. But if you don't experiment, if you don't try, how would you know what is a natural inclination? So as a fresher, first thing should be to try different domains. Do the hottest topics: social media, retail, finance, marketing, evergreen stuff, e-commerce. Pick the projects from there. Or if, let's say, for example, I'm a healthcare or a pharmacy student, I'll pick data related to clinical research, healthcare, insurance, all the industries which is related to pharmaceutical data set. So it depends on what domain you want, what domain you want to go into. But if you don't have any domain in particular mind, then I would say experiment with multiple domains. If you've done so, if you do if you have done video of a PPT, what should you put? You will put the video only, right? You're not going to put the PPT then. Put the video. And see, when you put a video and you're talking, right, or you're creating a video, there are multiple aspects of you that a recruiter comes to know. Number one, communication skills. You are able to talk. You're confident because you're putting on a public platform. By the way you talk, I know your communication skills. By the way you talk, I understand how assertive you are in your talking, right? In putting across your point. So I would always say videos reflect a lot about you versus a standalone PPT. How to choose the correct data set? There's no definition of correct data set. There's no correct definition. What is a correct data set? There's no correct data set. So a lot of time, that's what my step number one is. This is the first step. People ask me, how do I pick a data set? I know there are websites. I know there are data sets. But how do I pick it? So my answer to you guys is, since we are saying that we want to get into data analytics, and what we're doing, we are creating a portfolio project. And this project, the reason we are doing this project is because we want to showcase that I don't have a theoretical knowledge, I have a practical knowledge, right? So when you're saying I have a practical knowledge, what does it mean? That I understand business. I know how to make tool with business. I know how to solve a business question, right? Now, I keep telling everyone I have very less interest in finance. Somehow that domain is very not that great for me. So if I am not clear with the domain, if I'm not comfortable with the domain or industry, do you think I will be very good in finding a business solution over there, or even be able to think, okay, if this is a business problem, this is the approach I should take? Probably not. So pick a data set which you can understand. Pick an industry which you can understand. Once someone had asked me a question, I don't know what data set to pick. I said, okay, what do you like? She said, shopping. I love shopping. So which set she should pick? E-commerce. Understand what is the shopping pattern of the people, right? That will be interesting project. So how do you pick a project? There's no correct there's nothing called correct data set. It's what your interest, where does your interest lie? What you can understand very well. That is the type of data you should be picking. Okay. The data which you feel connected to is the correct data set for you. Absolutely. Very nicely put. Which you feel connected to, which you can understand. Right? Should I have my video on? Camera on in the videos? Why not? Why not? Have the camera on. It shows confidence and nothing more than that. I'm seeking transition. What should be my ideal portfolio project? See, there is no ideal portfolio project I can do one-to-one for all of you. This is what I'm telling you is in general what all of you need to follow to create your own portfolio, right? We are coming to that. What kind of projects do make you stand out? The only type of projects that can make you stand out from the crowd is which is business oriented. And that's where I would say 95% of the candidates fail. What you guys do on your portfolio is just show your design skills, which is good. And that I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things about this tool, and you just show it off. But if I look at a dashboard and I ask the question to the candidate that, okay, whose business problem did you solve? Who's a stakeholder? For whom did you create? Or what is the action item out of this? There's no answer. So if you're creating dashboards like that, they're of no use. Because what is going to make you stand out is if you can showcase in your project that I understand business, I understand this data, and I know how to work with it. That's what's going to get you an excellent interview opportunity and a job. Right? What kind of projects make you stand out? Okay, let's move on. Next. So let's say I feel connected to social media. I'm just taking a random industry. Now, in social media, what kind of analytics problem do the analysts solve? That should be my next thought process, because this is what I'm showing you. The steps that I'm showing you are for the people who have no industry idea. So they just pick a data set and they're clueless what to do with it. So you're going to put a data set that you feel connected to. Next, you're going to figure out what kind of business problems do we solve in social media. Okay. And who will help you in this? I don't know. I'm a fresher. I don't know what kind of problems will help me. So what should I do? How will you get this answer? Chat GPT, right? You guys are blessed. You have something like Chat GPT in your life right now. So just pose this question to Chat GPT. I am working in a social media organization. I am working on a social media data set. What kind of business objectives or what kind of business problems can I solve? And boom, it will give you a list of business problems. Okay. Hold on, a lot of questions coming up. Should I choose a domain that aligns with my personal interest or the one that has high demand? No, there's nothing called high demand and low demand of industry. Something that you are feeling interested in, put that only. I'm currently working in government bank for 5 years. When I make a transaction, can I show it as experience? Yes. Fresher definition is only right out of college. When you have 5 years of experience, you have to show. So, but then you have to pick your domain properly. Then you can't just go in passion suddenly, right? If you were working in a bank for 5 years, your aim should be to work on projects which are related to bank. It could be retail banking, it could be risk, it could be marketing of the financial products, but it has to be related to bank. So are there domains that are more likely to impress the potential employers? Not really. You have to understand, if I run an organization, let's say one of our clients is iQuanti, they're into digital marketing, right? Now, if I put a lot of projects of finance, would they be impressed? Absolutely not. So it depends on the need of the recruitment team. It depends on the need of the company, depending on what type of company it is. So if I'm applying for a bank, if I have projects related to finance, good job. If I'm applying for a consultancy company and over there I can show the variation across the industry, very good. If I'm working for, let's say, social media, then projects oriented to social media, that is what is going to impress them. Which industry or domain is most likely to hire a fresher? What do you guys think? Do you think there is any industry in which only experienced folks are sitting and there's no fresher in that industry? Because if that is the case, I just wonder, how did those experienced folks, or where did they get their experience from? So there is nothing called this industry is for freshers and this is for experience. When you are getting experience, you have to be in a fresher at some point to get it. So those kind of questions, not good. Yes, Power BI and Excel projects, you can upload those on GitHub, not a problem. And then give a link of a GitHub. All right, let's move on. Once you understand, okay, what are the business problems that we have, then the next thing, before you attack your data set or work with your project, you have to figure out for whom am I going to do it and what business problem am I going to solve with it? What is my objective? Okay. For whom am I doing it and what business problem I'm solving for that guy? Always start with a theme in your mind. Always start with a business objective in your mind. If you go vague, that project becomes vague and has hold no significance in interviews or in your on your resume. Okay, have a proper business objective that, okay, with my project, this is what I'm going to solve. Some of the questions that you are asking is moving away from the topic. So I am going to address that a little later, because right now, if we don't follow these steps properly, then the whole point of this entire workshop gets diluted. Otherwise, I'm just doing like a counseling of this is my profile, this is what I am. I want to really focus on the projects, because all the other questions will only come into existence if you understand how the projects are. Then whether you are an MIS or you're in a bank or you've done 10 years or you have no experience, you all fit into one bucket for me. Okay. So for now, I am not going to take these questions. It's not I'm not going to answer. I will. However, I want to finish this portfolio project part. Now, first step, see the data set I've connected to. Step number 2, understand what business problems are solved with it. Step number 3, determine or think about, okay, this is a stakeholder. It may be a chief operating officer. It may be a marketing manager. It may be a CEO. It may be a CFO. Who am I creating it for? And what business problem am I solving with it? Then research for data, which is having that will help you to solve that kind of business problem. For example, I might want to do a study where I am doing attrition in telecom. Then if I am doing attrition, if I want to do a project on attrition in telecom, I need that kind of data where I know when the person came into the system, what kind of services he or she had, what kind of plan he or she had, and whether the person is active or not active. Because if I don't have this kind of information, I cannot do it. Right? So then you take care of those websites, you go to those websites and look for such projects, such data. Next, what we miss a lot of time is understand the data properly. You really have to give a lot of time. If someone comes to me with a problem, business problem, or let's say project oriented problem or their work oriented problem, I spend a good amount of time just understanding their data, because till I don't understand the data, till you don't understand the data well, you really can't work on the data. So understand the data. When I say that, understand each and every header. What does it each field mean? What kind of data type these fields are? Are there some of the fields which are not significant? Are there some of the field where values are missing? Then we come into cleaning and processing the data. Okay. Now, most of the database softwares that are designed in a way that basic information gets uploaded in the softwares. Not too much calculated fields are kept over there, because typically ERP software, that's the mechanism or that's the work that they have. So once you cleaned, once you process the data, think about what more do I need to solve this case study, right? Like for example, one of the case study that I show to the students is a call center case study, in which there is a column called number of calls that came, number of calls that got answered, number of calls that got resolved. Now, if I only talk about, let's say there were 1,000 calls, 800 calls were answered, 750 calls were resolved, just like numbers, then they become meaningless. Versus if I said 80% of the calls were answered, 95% answered call were resolved, then the data starts to make meaning for us and for the business. So you always have to keep thinking, am I giving a number? Does it make even any sense? Or do I need to create more columns to dig deeper into my analysis? Okay. And the last part, whether you're doing a Python program, machine learning, R, or you're doing as simple as a SQL query. Like one question that has come just now is, should I use complex code or queries in my project? If it is related to business problem, yeah. But if it's just a complex query which has no significance in the business, no. You might show that I know how to write a complex query, but it's far away from what the business does or the business needs. They're not going to hire you for that. They'll only hire you if you will be able to apply your knowledge in the business. So if I can create a business objective and associate with a complex query, win-win situation. Beautifully done. But if it's just a complex query, then no. Then answer is absolutely no. So this is the entire process. What people typically do is start from here. Take data, clean data, do some kind of analysis, 10 columns, let's analyze all the 10 columns. Something will come up. 10 columns do not convert to 15 columns at all. No new fields are created. No deeper insights are done. Something that a class 12 student can probably do for us. Then what differentiates you as an analyst? You are not an analyst. You just know how to run a tool. But if you think in this direction, if you take the first 4 steps as well, then you're thinking about the business. Then you're thinking about the analysis. And then you will see your projects will have much better reaction from the recruiter. Sorry. Next. So we know how to create a project. Next, GPT. I don't know how many of you are using it. But if you're not doing good work. Chat GPT is not something you guys should run away from. A lot of things around AI and chat GPT, is it going to help us, or it's taking our jobs away? The way I see chat GPT, the way I use chat GPT is like another analyst sitting next to me to whom I can bounce off my ideas for betterment of my work. So how do you choose chat GPT? Let's see. Number one, the biggest challenge that I face when I look at someone's resume is the way you write your project description. Just to give you an example, I'd asked one of my team members to pull out, few examples. For example, developed a dashboard on customer satisfaction of an airline. That's not a good project description. Another one says, analyze project and adventure work cycle. Very bad, super bad. Another one is, predict whether the client will subscribe to a banking product. This is still better. Visualize COVID cases, then coffee case study. See, all these are example of bad business objectives on your resume. This again shows that you don't know what you did. You just use the tool, but you don't know what business problem are typically on this data set you can solve. So take the help of ChatGPT. Give proper command to it. Articulate the business problem properly. Say that, okay, I have a data set of a retail which is selling bikes. And I would like to know which new products do I need to add. Now, why I'm saying this thing? Because if I go back, I said we are going to think about who's my stakeholder and I will come up with an objective to solve. Right? So I know my objective. I know the data. What I need from ChatGPT is to help me refine into a business language. So articulate what is the problem. And, typically the way I do it is I just write it, whatever comes in my mind. I don't think too much about the grammar, sentence, corrections and all those things. Give it to ChatGPT, it gives it back. Then I will evaluate. Do I want to replace certain words? Do I make it one shorter? Do I want to make it more detailed? Do I want to put bullets in it? And you keep talking to ChatGPT till it refines your business object. So you can get very good, powerful, impact-making project descriptions from ChatGPT. Next, it can help you to improve your documentation. I use it quite a bit. Like, I have a lot of thoughts. I talk a lot. I have a lot of thoughts in my mind, but I'm not sure if I'm a person who can document things very well. Okay, not very professional in that, but as a consultant, a lot of thought process going on over there. So again, what do? Write it, give it to ChatGPT. It was going to help you to understand if things look fuzzy, it will omit it. If duplication of the thoughts are there, it will make it unique. It'll help you to organize your thought process clearly. It'll have better language, obviously good grammar. So again, I use it quite a bit for the documentation part, right? For example, I found 5 things to tell my stakeholder. So I will say, these are the 5 things, revise it, make it more impactful for a PPT, make it short, and I want to show it to my CEO. So the language that will take, the kind of words, how it will reduce, you will see it's much better versus what you would have thought. It can also help you to understand what more, like for example, in BI analysts. So I sometimes toss the idea, this is a data set I have. How do you think which visual or which chart, which graph would be better suited for it? So you can toss these kind of questions and it will give you answers. Again, you have to evaluate. Remember this thing, this is not here to replace you. It's supposed to be a friend who gives you ideas. And as a friend, think about an actual friend to whom you pose question and the person who gives you ideas. We don't accept all the ideas. Or it's not that, okay, my friend said this, that's why I'm doing this. We put our brain, we understand, we put our logic, we use our thought, and then we might adopt the same idea, or we might do changes, or we might just reject the idea. Same thing you're supposed to do with ChatGPT. Think about as a friend, a virtual friend with whom you're tossing your ideas. You can also understand what models to run. There have been instances currently where I've got stuck very badly. I downloaded data set from one of our softwares that we use at Ivy. It had some space issue. I used all my Excel knowledge, could not resolve it. Gave it to ChatGPT. It gave me 2, 3, solutions. Tried, one of them worked. So give a good chat prompt to GPT, it will give you a very good output, right? So your algorithms and your models, which model to use, which algorithm will be best suitable for this kind of business problem solving, it will help you out on that, right? And all these things that we are talking about, I know, a lot of you think that, okay, these are all words. I don't know how to work with it. Then for this purpose, specifically for making your portfolio projects, Ivy is launching a new product called Product Wise. And as a part of Product Wise, they will be business objective based projects given to you. It's not a data set. It will be given, let's say we want to talk about telecom industry. There's a company, ABC, which is worried about its attrition of its customer. So you have to create a report for the CEO of the company. It may be that I am the bank ABC. I've launched this new financial product. So what kind of customers should I target for marketing? So these are all business problems. So in Project Wise, we have created projects based on the tools where business objective will be given. So this helps you to understand, okay, I can do this in this particular industry, or I can solve this business problem with this tool. So those kind of things you will be easily able to do under that product of Ivy. All right. I'm just thinking if I missed any question. Okay, more things. Another place where I see people falling short because I'm a fresher. I don't know about the industry at all. So what do I do? Take ChatGPT's assistance again. If I want to ask things like when I work on my dashboards, since I'm a BI analyst, sometimes I'm working with clients whose business is not very clear to me. So first step is to understand the business properly. So there are certain terminology, certain processes I need to understand. Once I was working for a shipping company. So over there, they had words like bill of landing. I had no clue what bill of landing was, but I had to study. I had to understand. So you have to understand those kind of things. How do you go? Don't Google, go to ChatGPT. If I want to understand what the KPIs of a particular business is, I use ChatGPT. So all the domain related questions also you can ask over here. Regarding if the ChatGPT can help us in making portfolio projects, so want to ask, are there any potential ethical consideration or privacy concerns we should be aware of while making the projects? Not really. Not really. See, ChatGPT initially, when they launched the product, was such that whatever questions you're putting, whatever data you're giving, it all used to be stored in their cloud. And that's where others could also access, others were also using this knowledge. ChatGPT itself was evolving because of that. But now with so many lawsuits that came up, they have stopped that part. So it's pretty much, your data, your working, it's related to your cloud space and it's not being used by anyone else. So it should be fine. Then what else ChatGPT does? Seeks presentation tips. how to present the data, how many slides should be there. If I want to create a slide on this, how should I reword it? What should be the bullets? What kind of color combinations I can use? All these things, again, you can ask ChatGPT. And definitely, like I said previously, clarity and language. Whatever we write, I put it to ChatGPT once, whether it's an email I'm writing, or it's a proposal I'm writing, or it's I'm working on a client's project, I always run it by ChatGPT nowadays. The chances of errors is reduced quite a bit. Okay, so that's your ChatGPT. Now I'll take few questions over here, and let's go back to the questions that you guys asked. Where did I lose? Should I have created projects in sports, games, and multimedia. Is it good to showcase? Why not? That shows your passion towards it. And if you want to get into companies which are into sports, best. And no project is a bad project as long as it has a business objective linked to it. If if the interest is towards Excel and Power BI, then is it mandatory to work on tools like Python and SQL? See, nobody can force you to work on the tools that you don't like. However, having said that, SQL is something that I feel, even though I don't work heavily on SQL queries, but the SQL concepts have helped me in Excel, have helped me in Power BI, have helped me in Tableau, everywhere. And when we work with the clients, there also their requirement is to make sure that a person knows how to work with the data tables, how to work with multiple tables, how to merge the data, collaborate the data, consolidate the data. This is like mandatory that we get from all clients. And the root to all that is SQL understanding. So I would say, yes, that is something, if I hate it, it is something that I might not be very interested in doing it, but I should have a very good understanding of, without writing a query, I should know the concepts. Python again is something, I don't know how long you are going to run away from. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, Python got introduced in Excel. I was sitting and experimenting, and there are portions of Excel which are not very well developed when it comes to analysis, right? It's good basic intermediate level analysis you can do in Excel, but not very, there's some things which are missing. So again, Python is introduced in Excel. So if I shy away from Python, then I will not be able to use Python in Excel and not take my Excel work to a different level. So don't shy away from these tools. You don't have to be master in all, but you have to have a good understanding in these tools. Is MIS executive profile related to a data analytics? It is. It is pretty much the first step in analytics, where you're working in reports, you're working on Excel and working with the data, because you have to be comfortable. Who will easily come into data analytics field is a person who's comfortable with data, who can understand the data well, who can create reports and get some output of the reports. So as a MIS reporting analyst, you guys typically don't look at the outcome of that report, right? You know that I have to create this report, but how that report is being used, that is not your lookout. But as an analyst, that becomes my lookout also. So pretty much the first step is report. Then if you really want to get into hardcore analytics, then start looking at those reports from the business point of view. So if I'm making this report, what should I do to make it more business friendly? And what should I do to make my manager take the decision faster? I've been an educator for past 8 years and want to transition to data analytics. How do I relate these two domains? See, it depends on what kind of uh, what field you are, what are you teaching. And I have had not many, but I have about 3 to 4 instances in my alumni where I have seen from academics, they have shifted to analytics without a problem. But again, we have to see what kind of field are you actually teaching. If one has to pick one between Tableau and Power BI, which one to choose? Which tool is more versatile? Both have different like different affection points. Um, Pretty much, I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. I started with Tableau. Tableau is my first love. Now I've transitioned big time into Power BI because that's a client requirement. There are certain things very good in Tableau. There are certain things very good in Power BI. So I think I don't know how to answer this question. But if you ask me, like as a corporate trainer, which tool is in high demand by the corporates? It's Power BI. I train more on Power BI than Tableau. Alternate of ChatGPT is Bard, but I didn't like Bard too much. I didn't like the way it responded. So I'm more comfortable with ChatGPT. I have run my home-based bakery for 4 years. Which industry should I choose for the project? Anything to do with restaurants, why not that? Something which is of your interest area. Pick up Zomato, things like aggregators like Zomato, Swiggy, these kind of data sets. Pick them up, work on those. If one has to pick between Power BI, I've answered this. Will age be a hurdle in getting interview opportunities when transitioning? It depends on what's your age, number one. Number two, what CTC you are on. So if somebody comes to me, they say I'm already, let's say, 40 years old, I'm already getting like 25 lakhs while doing analytics, help me. Probably not that much, right? I can get a person who's younger and cheaper. Like age has to do with your amount also. And younger and cheaper person to do my work. So why would I hire you? Radio sales project is a good to showcase as having relevant experience. Okay, it is impossible to work with large data without SQL. It's impossible to work with large data without SQL. Yes. Can you please tell us some good example of project description in CV? I am going to do that. Any kind of limitations of using ChatGPT? 3.5 works very well, but if you want to make it do rather than a friend, if you want a junior team level team member, then you pay and then you get GPT-4. Then they do analysis also for you. But other than that, a buddy to talk to is 3.5. It's more than enough. Does data analyst jobs are immune due to advent of AI? AI is not going to take anybody's job. So don't worry about that. Portfolios of the students who have got placed recently. I don't have access to anybody's portfolio. I also joined Ivy as a fresher. I landed my first job in India. Now doing MBA, all thanks to Pratik and Nishani. He has joined, can speak if it helps. Oh, okay. Yes, most welcome to talk. Let me do one small exercise that I really wanted to show people. For all tools, 3 and 4 projects. Yes, 3 and 4 projects. There are so many things you learn on a tool. One project is definitely not going to do it. It doesn't cut it. Okay, I'm going to take few examples of what it would look like and how it should be. And these are, like I said, these I had taken from the students' resume. Okay. For example, the first one is developed a dynamic dashboard on box office data of Marvel Cinematic Universe in MS Excel. Good or bad? Apart from my spelling mistakes. Good or bad? Not that great. Why? Because it doesn't really tell me what did your dashboard do, who was looking at it, what information did that guy get from it. So not that interesting. So what I would do is revise this statement into a business objective for the let's just do one step. Okay, let's see what it does. Revise a statement of business objective. Interactive real-time cinema dashboard in Excel to enhance data visualization capabilities for CUM stakeholders and enthusiasts. Okay, Marvel comic enthusiast. Okay, not great. Still not great. So let's say you are a creative head at Marvel comic and want to come up with a new character. Create a objective for a dashboard project. Then you can talk about you have been given data set of Marvel comic characters and their details. Okay. A lot of mistakes I do. Comic character. Okay, let's see. So this is much better. Again, I can't pick it as it is, but I would pick the words like data-driven inspiration, strategic decision-making, character development, and storytelling, brand engagement. Now, these are the words that the business talks about. These are the words that the business is looking at. So something related to this has to go in my dashboard. Does it make sense? Let's do one more. Another one is, let's pick one sequel one. Analyze sales for a food manufacturing company by writing. Okay. Food manufacturing company. What would you write? What kind of objective? Sales data, food manufacturing. And saying analyzed food sales data for food manufacturing company. This is pretty vague. Okay, this is vague. If you analyze sales for a food manufacturing, what was the objective of analyzing that sales data? What did we want to do? Did we want to understand why the sales is falling? Did we want to understand how to increase the sales by, let's say, 15%? What was the objective? So this is vague, right? Again, use a little bit back and forth with ChatGPT to convert this into a better business objective. I hope this is clear. Does it make sense? Yes, no, maybe? So I might just add something like this. Revise to make impactful project objective. Analyze sales data for food manufacturing company to understand how to increase the sales by 15%. See, what I've written is very, very basic. Let's see what ChatGPT does. Strategically analyze food manufacturing company sales data, formulate actionable insights, growth strategies with objective of achieving 15% increase in the sales. This is better. Okay, this shows that I know how to use the tool on a business problem. Make sense? Can we make a project on Chandrayaan 3? Why not? Actually, our next boot camp is about space missions, thanks to Chandrayaan and all the talks around it. So I think towards next week, I'm doing a boot camp where I'm going to use Tableau to work on the data set of all the space missions, historical space missions, and get some insights from it. Okay, so why not? Anything which is trending, anything which is happening, you will see you will get more likes and you will get more views on that because that's topic which everybody is talking about. All right. So again, recap, a quick recap of what we discussed. The reason I wanted to have this workshop was for one and one reason only. I see a lot of resumes on a daily basis where I see people have written up the projects, but the projects are so poorly written. And when I talk to the candidates and I ask them, what did you do in the project? They are not done anything which is in depth with respect to the business. That, even though you gave a lot of space to that in your resume, you're still not getting calls, or you're getting calls, not getting converted. So, in order to crack your interviews nicely, give few interviews and crack all of them would be to understand how to create a portfolio projects and to have a lot of projects. At least 3 to 4 projects per tool would be something that I would always look forward to. Right? Why we need it? Demonstrate practical skill, showcase our problem solving skills, display hands-on experience, highlight the domain knowledge, display our passion towards data science. How to do it? There are a lot of websites. From the websites, first think about which industry, what do I want to solve, what are the business objectives I can solve, who is my stakeholder out of the 5 things that I can do, which one I want to work with, find the data related to it, and then start working on the data. Once this is done, once your work is done, use ChatGPT Buddy and refine your work further. Then create PowerPoint presentations, because at the end of the day, irrespective you work on SQL, you work on Python, you work on Power BI or Tableau, your end result is going to translate into PowerPoint presentation. So know how to do that, and then put that on LinkedIn if you're camera shy, if you don't want to make a video, or if you're okay with your communication, if you're not camera shy, have your camera on, create videos, put it on LinkedIn, network with people, showcase your work, and that's what's going to get you the jobs. I'm going to take few questions, 2 last questions. If Netflix movie data set and create a project later on take maybe web series data, will it be good to work on similar data sets? You can, doesn't matter, as long as you're solving a business problem. Remember that. Is it necessary to present dashboards and analysis report on LinkedIn? Can we work on small data to present one interesting chart and present it on LinkedIn? No, one interesting chart can be there till that chart tells you the story. One chart can also tell you a story. So I don't know if the chart is going to tell you a story. If it is, yes. But if I just create a LinkedIn post saying this is how you create a scatter plot, not interested. So many videos, such an old thing that is going on. But if you talk about smaller things, but it has to be what is latest. Let's say if I know how to create a correlation matrix in Excel using Python, that's interesting. So I may have only one chart, but I touched upon something which is little interesting, newer, people might not be knowing. Make sense? Yeah. So like I said, in order to help you guys to make sure that your project portfolios are done correctly, we have introduced this new product called Project Wise. So if you're interested in knowing about the project, you want someone to give you a call to understand that, please, there's a registration link given. Put in your name and details, and someone from Ivy will be giving you a call about it. All right. I hope you all enjoyed the session. It was worth your 1 hour. And any questions that you have regarding it, you can definitely drop a message, email to us, and connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not connected. If you look for Ivy Professional School, Ishani Agarwal, spell my name with EESHANI. You should be able to find me, connect with me, and whatever questions you have, one-to-one, if you want to take on your resumes, your portfolio, more than happy to do it. All right, folks, have a good night. and hope you enjoyed the session. Make sure you do adhere to the topics we discussed over here. Thank you so much. Take care.